A very good afternoon to each and every one of y'all. So yeah, welcome back to everyone. So yes, this is Prashant Sahu. Okay, who will be a trainer for you for this blockchain and Ethereum certification training course. Okay, so who am I? Because that's the first thing which every one of you should need to know, that who am I actually. So as I said, that I'm Prashant Sahu and I'm a blockchain certified professional and a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm very much passionate about helping others learn like how to use and gain the benefits from the latest technologies like blockchain. So I'm a thought leader and practitioner in blockchain, cloud, and Scrum. So let's go ahead and try to see like what should be the agenda for today. Okay, so we are into the agenda now. So the agenda here is like we will be just seeing like what are the issues with the current banking systems, and then how Bitcoin is trying to solve these issues. What are the issues with the current banking systems, and then how we can deal with the Bitcoin transactions, and how the blockchain has come to our rescue. What are certain blockchain concepts which we can actually try to understand? What are some certain features which are present inside the blockchain which is actually making us feel that yeah, it's really good and technology is having a lot of scope? Like what are that which has been present inside this blockchain technology? What are the use cases which have been present related to blockchain? And hands-on, if I would say, like what are the tools which are required for us to go ahead and try to do certain programming related to this blockchain technology? So we would be trying to cover all these topics as part of our today's webinar, and we will be exploring it in a very, not in a very detailed way, if I would say, because we have only 1 hour time, but definitely I would just give you a gist of it, like what exactly we are trying to do with these things. So now let's move into our agenda, like what are we going to cover related to this blockchain technology, and what like, so just try to understand, like you will just understand the gist of it, like what am I trying to talk, like what are the problems, not at a very deep level you will be able to understand, but I will just make you aware like where we are, what are we trying to do with this blockchain, and how this is important, where are we going to target this technology. All of these things you will just have an understanding right now, so that it would be easier for you to know like what am I going to do once I complete this technology, once I complete my 36 hours of training, where I would be and where I will be using this technology to the maximum extent. So these are some points which I want to bring it up to you. So if you could observe here, when I talk about the blockchain, okay, so when I say about the blockchain technology here, right, very important thing which every one of you need to understand is this blockchain technology which is being present, it is going to target your data. That's it. So now how it is going to target your data is what you need to understand. Okay, so now how your blockchain is going to target your data. So here when I say data, right, it can be any data. It doesn't matter whether it is a structured data or whether it is an unstructured data, it doesn't matter. But the point which I just want to highlight it here in this case is your blockchain technology is there to make sure that whatever data you are having, right, it is being protected in a more secure, safe, and in a transparent way. Only for that reason we are using the blockchain technology. Now you may think that okay, oh, it's only for that purpose, but actually it's not so easy as we think. There are a lot of complex things which have been present under this technology, and there are also things which have been very easy also. See, any technology, if you take it up, there are mixture of things, like some things will be very easy, some things will be very much complex. But again, that is the reason why we are providing you this training, to make sure that everything would be very simpler and you can make the things in a very simple pattern. You can understand the things and then you can do the things in a better way. That is the reason why this technology is very much important for us. But before you learn about the blockchain technology, first thing what you need to understand here is, what is this technology? With this technology, where am I going to target? Now let me say, if I learn blockchain technology, I'll learn all the concepts, great. But tomorrow when I ask you this question, hey, you learned about the blockchain technology, right? Can you say me that where is this technology going to be useful? You can't just explain the concepts to them, because nobody is bothered about the concept right now. I want to know first, where is this technology will be useful? Your technology will be useful in protecting your data. Okay, so you need to use your blockchain technology in order to ensure that you protect your data in a more safe and in a secure way. So now you may ask me this question, that do we don't have any other mechanism where we can protect our data? Yes, there is lots of mechanisms which have been present, like where you can protect your data. There is no problem. But the point which I want to highlight right now to you is, Even though there are so many mechanisms being present in order to protect the data, but still it is not been in a safe and in a secure way. The reason is recently you have seen Twitter got hacked, Facebook has hacked multiple times, WhatsApp was been hacked several number of times. See, that is the level of transparency which is being present right now, right? You could see that lots of times the data is getting hacked. So how to protect it? What we can do? That's where this blockchain technology comes into limelight. Blockchain technology has come into limelight. Why industries, why organizations, why you, me, every one of us, why we are trying to invest our time? Only because this blockchain technology is protecting the data in a more safe and in a secure way, so that nobody would be able to dare to attack the data. Even if they try to do it, they will not be successful in doing it, because such is the significance of this technology. Now you may think in your mind that what is that which is present under this technology which is actually making it so strong in order to protect the data. Definitely there are the points which have been present, which I will let you know slowly. But yeah, these are the important points which you actually need to consider. Okay, so without considering these points, right, so you will not be in a position to understand that why am I learning this technology. So first I want to make this point very clear to you before I dig deeper, and then before I go ahead and try to provide you other important points. Okay, so I hope this has given you a good clarity, like where are we going to use this technology and in which component is this technology going to play a very vital role. Okay, so we are going to protect our data in a much safer way and in a much secure way, so that if anybody tries to come and attack my data, they will not be successful in doing it. That is the one of the biggest advantage which we are going to get out of this technology. That is the reason why many organizations and many entities are trying to work towards this technology. So now let me go ahead and try to put it up, like what are the issues which have been present with the current banking systems. Okay, so if I would just go ahead, so simply if you could just see this picture itself, we could be able to understand like what is the biggest issue with the current banking system. First of all, these banks which are being present, right? So these banks are actually here intermediaries. Okay, so this act as your intermediaries. Now let me say if Chandler wants to send some amount of money to Joy, okay, then what is going to happen? See, there would be a bank which would come up between the Chandler and Joy. So bank, what it is going to do, it is going to settle the transaction on behalf of the Chandler, like, and that money will be immediately credited to Joy, right? So now here what is going to happen is this bank will act as authoritative over here. Okay, it would settle the transaction and ensure that the transaction is being settled to the other person. So for doing that, they would also take some amount of transaction fees. Okay, so that they would ensure that the transaction is being done appropriately, which the transaction fee is sometimes is really high. Let me say if you do a normal transaction, you would not feel it, but when you want to do some international transactions, then you see that there would be a higher amount of fees would be charged from you. That is the reason why many people try to avoid using these foreign transactions. They would look for different approaches where they can reduce the transaction fee. But whereas in this case, like if you could see, this is the problem with the banking system. They help us out. Okay, they will act as an intermediary, and they would also take a higher amount of transaction fee, which is actually a big problem for us. Now if you could see recently, the JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, like all of them, they have almost collected around $6 billion in terms of transaction fee only. So which is actually, if you could see how much amount of money they are trying to get from this transaction fee. Indeed, let me say that is your money, right? It is your money which you have kept in the bank, and when you are trying to send your money to another person, on top of that they are taking some amount of transaction fee also. So which I would suggest that this is one of the biggest problem even with the banking system right now. So what we are trying to talk here is, with the help of the blockchain technology, when we start implementing this blockchain technology, right, you will be able to see that there would not be any intermediaries coming into the picture. This concept itself is totally eliminated when you implement the blockchain technology. There is no scope or there is no way for the intermediaries to enter into the system. Okay, so everything here is a peer to peer. Peer to peer means, let me say here, one peer is Chandler, okay, and another peer here is your Joe. Okay, your Joy and Chandler are two peers. Now if they want to settle the transaction using the blockchain, so blockchain has certain cryptocurrencies, if you are aware of it or not. So there is some cryptocurrencies like, let me say you Bitcoin, Okay, and then there is something like Ethereum. So all of these things are actually being present, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and in the world there are almost like 12,000 cryptocurrencies approximately using the blockchain technology. But out of them, Bitcoin and Ethereum are only the famous ones. Rest of all of those things are still there, but they are not so popular as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now let me say, if you want to transfer Bitcoin from Chandler to Joy, so it will always be between Chandler and Joy only. There would not be any bank present between you, because as you are using the blockchain technology, those cryptocurrencies are being designed using the blockchain technology, and they are also the global cryptocurrencies. In India also you find out Bitcoin, and in the America also you find out the Bitcoin, and maybe if you go to Australia also it is your Bitcoin only. Okay, everywhere it is Bitcoin only, because it is a global cryptocurrency. It is not like our traditional way, like in India you find out rupee, and in Australia you go and try to find out your Australian dollar. So and if you go to Japan you will find out yen. So like this is not like that. It is a global cryptocurrency which can be used anywhere at any part of the world. Okay, so here this intermediaries concept is not at all there. If Chandler wants to settle any transaction to Joy, it will be directly between Chandler and Joy, and this third party will be totally eliminated, provided if you use the blockchain technology. So which is one of the biggest advantage which you are trying to get with the help of the blockchain technology, where it will totally eliminate the intermediaries who have been present between us. There will be no regulatory body. Now if Chandler wants to settle, it is between Chandler and Joy only, so that they can settle the transaction in the form of a peer-to-peer method, rather than having this third party in between us. Let me say, if you want to send emergency some amount of money, and if your bank servers are not working, then you can't do anything even though you have the money in your bank. That is not going to give you any benefit. So because we are very much dependent on this banking system, that is the reason why this blockchain technology has totally removed this entire intermediary concept. If you have anything, then you need to talk directly to another person, and it is between you and the other person. That's it. Nobody will be involved between you and the other person. That is what we call it as our peer-to-peer model. Okay, so that is I have highlighted the issue right now to you, and this issue has been eradicated with the help of the blockchain technology by removing these intermediaries in between us, by bringing up a concept called as a P2P. You can call this as a P2P, or you can also call this as a peer-to-peer. Both mean the same. Okay, it's called as a peer-to-peer model. Okay, so again with the issues with the current banking system, there is also higher chances for double spending. Double spending means, let me say, sometimes if you hack the bank servers, just for an example, so let me say you have only in your account $500 only. Okay, but what you can actually try to do, you can just, if you hack bank servers, then you can just go ahead and try to change in whatever way you want it, right? So let me say you still have $500, but you can just go ahead and try to double spend it. Like you will be sending to $400 and $500 to another person. Total is how much? 900, right? But how much do you have? 500. Because you have hacked the bank server, so you can do the transactions in whatever way you want it. Even this is also one of the issue with the current banking system, because the banking servers and everything is not so safe and transparent. Even if one of the servers got hacked or compromised, right? That's it. You can play with the banking system, and you can play with the entire money which has been present, and like it will take even sometimes like years to find out like who is that person who has done this. And even it will take some, even a lot of time for the banks to also understand like which server has impact and what has happened. So it's really, you could see that Lehman Bank which has been present, right? If you know about it, Lehman Bank, and there are also other banks which has actually faced these issues, like where things have become very complicated, and finally they have shut down their operations. Now Lehman Bank is no more operational. It has been shut down in the year 2008. It totally got bankrupted, and finally it was totally dismantled at that point of time. So things are not like easy with the current banking system. So as I mentioned, like intermediaries are taking up higher transaction fees. Double spending is another issue here. See, as I said, bank transactions are prone to double spending. And you know that here, if you could see, banks are also becoming like, they are actually facing a lot of crisis. One of the biggest crisis, you know, is your NPA, your non-performing assets, we call it as. You see the examples of Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, all of these people, they have taken a lot of NPAs from the banks. Okay, like they have taken the loan, but they have never repaid back. Now when you know that the money has never been repaid back to the loan, I mean to your bank, then how will they run their operations? They can't run the operations, because let me say I gave you money, and in return if you don't pay me the money, then how would I sustain? Same way is the banking also. So if I give you some amount of money and if you don't return me back, then there is no point, right? How can I run my operations then? So that is what is your NPAs, your non-performing assets. It is increasing tremendously, especially in India. That is the reason you see that there are lots of banks getting merged in order to ensure that banks can sustain. So this NPA is one of the biggest issues, and who is going to face the consequences? It is only we are going to face the consequences, because ultimately when the banks are bankrupted, right, then automatically your money will all be clotted over there, and it will be very difficult for us to get those money. The recent example, if you know, PMC Bank, your Punjab Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. If you don't know, you can just surf it in the internet. You will be able to find out your Punjab Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, like the problem which they have faced and how it has actually created a biggest issue. So you know that on a daily basis, even though you have 1 lakh in your account, you are not eligible to take that money. On a daily basis, you have to take around 1,000 or 2,000 only, because the bank has faced a major crisis, and you have to agree to whatever the RBI, which is our let me say regulatory body for all the banks in India. So whatever they say, you have to follow it, even though the money, even though it is your money which is present in the banking system. So such is our dependency towards these banks, and even if they face any crisis or any issues also, we have to face the consequences. So that is the reason why blockchain has identified all this sort of things, like what are the issues which have been currently right now, and how I can go ahead and try to get rid of all these problems, and how we can eliminate these intermediaries who are being present in between the system. That's where all these challenges which you could see right now, which I'm explaining, right, all these challenges have been eliminated, or it can be removed and eradicated with the help of the blockchain technology altogether. Okay, so this is one of the biggest problems with the current banking system, like NPA, non-performing assets, and one of the major bank like Punjab Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, it got bankrupted, and there are so many other banks also. Like if you could see PNB, Punjab National Bank, even it's not bankrupted, but still it has faced a lot of like losses and everything. But finally, all of them, they got merged and all. So this is the problem which even the government is also facing in terms of current banking systems. So all this can be eradicated and removed just by ensuring that we are using the blockchain technology to the maximum extent, by totally eliminating and removing them. And we can bring in our P2P concept, which we call it as our peer-to-peer mechanism. Okay, so how Bitcoin solves these issues? Okay, let's see that, as I already have explained to you, right, like how we can remove the third parties and intermediaries. Let's go and try to identify like how we can solve these issues and all. So Bitcoin has solved these issues we had with the centralized banks here. So if you could see how Bitcoin has actually solved this problem, is one is decentralized power. When I say decentralized power means, just see here. So now your bank which is being present, right, what is going to happen? Let me say you are having an account in an SBI. Okay, so now SBI will have all your information as well as other customers information. Everyone's information will be in the SBI only. Now SBI will have one single server, that is your centralized server, we call it as. Okay, so this is your centralized server. Now let me say this is centralized server means there will be only single central server. Any information, anything if you want to pass or anything if you want to retrieve, right, everything will be done from that centralized server only. Okay, so let me say due to any unforeseen situations or due to any natural disaster, or if anything happens, if this centralized server has been gone, then how are you going to sustain? What are you going to do? How you can ensure that this centralized server can be brought up? So it is very difficult. Just having single centralized server means there is a higher chances for single point of failure. If the server is gone and if the server is no more used, then entire data will be disrupted and you can't bring up the data, and it will be extremely difficult. So that is the concept of centralized server. Like it is actually very difficult for the blockchain technology to go with a centralized server where there is a higher chances for the single point of failure. Now let me say if any hacker tries to come and attack this server, right, that's it, all the data is in his control only. So technology doesn't want to encourage this. Blockchain technology, they don't want to go with the centralized server at all. They want to ensure everything would be in the form of a decentralized mechanism. Now when I say decentralized mechanism, it says that you will not have a single server here, you will have multiple servers. So there is no concept called a centralized server inside the blockchain technology. Everything here is decentralized. When I say decentralized here, right, let me say the participants who have joined in this webinar, every one of you, if you have your own laptop, right, that is a single node, we call it as. Now Prashant is a single node. In the same way other people who are being present, right, even all of you all are the single nodes here. Okay, So like this, let me say there are multiple nodes which will be present. Node is nothing but you can also call it as a server also. So now data, once it gets injected into first server, right, automatically the data will be replicated to multiple nodes which are being present in the system. Okay, so now what is the benefit of that? Let me say, even if one server goes down, right, there are multiple servers which can cope up the traffic. Until and unless 51% of the systems are not attacked, right, you are safe. Nothing is going to happen. Okay, this is a very important point you need to consider, that whatever the servers or nodes which have been present here, everything here is decentralized. There is no single point of failure over here. Even if one goes down, there are multiple which are being present, or in order to disturb it, then you have to attack 51%. Even this will also become difficult for the hacker. Even if hacker tries to come and attack a single server, he will not be successful until and unless he attacks the 51% of the servers. See how drastically the technology has changed the process. If you see in SBI, even if a single server is gone, that's it. The entire data will be in the hacker's hand. But whereas over here, he has to attack at least 51% of the nodes to make sure that he is successful in it. Okay, so such is the level of decentralization which we can actually try to bring in and make sure that nobody would be able to attack the system. Even if they try to do, it will be extremely difficult, and you need a lot of computation power to go ahead and try to attack it. Okay, so without that computation power, right, you will not be able to attack. That is one of the important point which you need to consider. So you need to ensure that there is a lots of computation power for you in order to attack 51% of the nodes. Okay, and along with that, it is immutable. When I say immutable, right, what is immutable in this case? Immutable means once the data is present inside the blockchain, that data can never be changed nor never be erased. It is tamper proof, we call it as. Okay, so when I say immutable, it is tamper proof, that once the data is present inside the blockchain, nobody can actually try to tamper that record. Either you as a owner nor the other person who can access that data, nobody can try to change that data, as it is immutable. Okay, that is one of the strong property of the blockchain. Once the data is inserted, so you need to be extremely careful whenever you insert the data inside the blockchain. Okay, as it is immutable, so it is tamper proof, so that nobody would actually try to attack the data in the system. Even if they try to do, they'll not be successful, because you can't edit or you can't change any data once it is present inside the blockchain. Public ledger here, as it is a public ledger, that means because Bitcoin, and as we are talking about Bitcoin is being used by everyone. That is the reason why we call it as the public ledger, and it is accessible to everyone. Okay, so that is the important thing which you need to know. And no double spending. Why there is no double spending? The reason here is, see, in the decentralized power, what is going to happen? The data is getting replicated to multiple nodes. Now here multiple nodes will go ahead and try to verify and validate whether it is the right type of a transaction or not. Okay, so that is the reason why what is going to happen here is there wouldn't be any double spending mechanism also coming into the picture, because every node will validate that whether it is the right type of a transaction or not. Then only it will verify and say it is right. Let me say you have 500 rupee in your account and you have sent 1000, then it will not allow you. Okay, because you have only 500, how you can send more? So it will validate, the nodes will validate your balance, and it will check that whether you're sending equal to your balance or less than balance, then it is fine. If you're sending anything more than that, then it will not allow you. It will stop you there only, saying that you will not be able to do it. In that way, we are also eradicating this double spending problem, and as well as it is immutable, so that no data, once any data is present inside the blockchain, nobody can actually try to come and tamper that record, as it is immutable. Decentralized, there is no single server like where you can have a single point of failure. Everything here is distributed and decentralized, so that if anybody wants to attack also, it will be very much difficult for them, until and unless they attack 51% of the systems. Otherwise they will not be able to do anything, and it is a public ledger, so that anybody can come and try to use this Bitcoin at any point of time. So this is how Bitcoin is trying to solve these issues with the help of the blockchain technology, like whatever I have discussed right now, the issues which we have with our centralized banking system. Okay, so these are some of the benefits which we are going to get as part of our blockchain technology. Like why it is so strong? Because of the decentralization and because of the immutability, and you're not getting a chance to double spend it. And at the same time, public ledger. Double spend means like you have 500, and if you're taking this 500 and if you're sending it to two persons, only one transaction will be valid, another transaction should be rejected, because by that time your account will be having zero. You have already sent 500, then automatically the other transaction should be rejected. Now let me say you have 500, and for both the persons, if you're able to send 500, then that means that's a double spending, right? So you have only 500, but you're sending 1,000 rupee. 500 to one person, 500 to another person, because you have hacked the server. Whereas here you're not getting a chance to hack the server because everything is decentralized. You need to attack 51% of the nodes, then only you will be successful. For that, you need to have a higher amount of computation power. Then only you will be able to do it. Otherwise, you will not be successful in doing it. Okay, this is how you can actually solve your issues with the Bitcoin. And as I said you, right, the best part here is like your transaction fee is also zero. Okay, so you don't need to pay any transaction fee, because as you know, Bitcoin is what? It is your blockchain technology. Using your blockchain technology only, the Bitcoin was been designed, right? So here what is going to happen? It is a peer-to-peer concept. So the transaction fee will be zero, or otherwise it is up to you. If you want to put any transaction fee, you can also put it up. It is up to you. Okay, it's optional. Either you can go with a zero. Even if you go with zero also, nobody is going to question you anything, or otherwise your transaction fee can also be optional. If you want to provide any transaction fee, it is up to you. You can also go ahead and try to provide it. There is no problem. Okay, so this is also another important point which you need to understand. And let's see how the Bitcoin transactions would generally look like. Okay, so if I would just go here, as I already said you, using the blockchain technology only, we have actually derived our Bitcoin. Not only Bitcoin, we have also got Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies also have come into limelight with the help of the blockchain technology. But the point which I want to highlight is Bitcoin is your first application. There may be multiple applications which have come around this blockchain technology, but the first application is your Bitcoin. Using the blockchain technology, the first application which came into limelight is our Bitcoin. Okay, so if you could just see here, so this is how your blockchain would basically look like. Okay, so this is your entire blockchain. These are your set of blocks which are being created in the form of a chain pattern, and whenever the next block will be created, right, that will add to our existing chain which is present. Okay, to our existing chain, our block would fall and it would be added to our existing blockchain which is already available. Okay, so that's what it is trying to say. In this way, there are lots of blocks which will get created. Okay, like till now I could say that there are around millions of blocks which are already being created. Okay, it started in the year 2008, 2009, I would say the first block was being created in the Bitcoin, and till right now it is 2022, and still the blocks are getting created and it is getting added to the existing blockchain which is already present. Okay, so these are also some of the points which you need to know. So where every time a block would be created and it would be falling inside the blockchain. Now you may ask me this question, that what is being present inside this blockchain? There are transactions. You can deal with a lot of transactions, whatever you're trying to do. All those transactions would be present inside this blockchain. And along with transactions, you can also store some of the data also, like it may be your land details, your house details, or any product confidential information also. You can put it in inside this blockchain, so there is no problem. Okay, and your Bitcoin is your first decentralized digital currency. As I said, as it is the first application of your blockchain technology, it uses a very good cryptography to make sure that it is safe and secure. Okay, and then as I said, it is a peer-to-peer concept, like where if you want to transfer, there wouldn't be any third parties and intermediaries, so you can transfer the amount with the help of the peer-to-peer mechanism. Like one peer will be you and the other peer will be the next person whom you want to transfer that amount. Okay, so then finally the ledger is being produced by people using software that solves the mathematical problems. Simply, if I would say, now you know that okay, there are blocks being present inside the blockchain, but who is responsible for creating the blocks inside the blockchain? This is the important thing which you actually need to understand. Now, who is responsible for creating the blocks inside the blockchain? Here I would just say you that like miners are actually responsible for creating the blocks inside the blockchain. So how they are going to create the blocks? They are going to solve a mathematical puzzle. Okay, they have to solve a mathematical puzzle, then only they will be allowed to create the block inside the blockchain. Now let me say there are a number of participants over here. Now if I give you a puzzle, so the person who is going to crack the puzzle first, he will be able to create the block inside the blockchain. I would just say instead of Prashant, you can replace it with the Bitcoin software. So there would be a Bitcoin software present. This Bitcoin software, it is going to create a puzzle, and rest of the people who have joined this webinar, right? Assume you all are miners. Now all the miners should crack that puzzle in order to make sure that you win. Once you win, there will be only one winner who has found out that puzzle very quick. That person will be eligible to create the block inside the blockchain. That is what we call it as here. Your ledger is getting produced by people who are using software that solves the mathematical problem. So you need to, as a miner, you need to use a mining software from which you can do mining, and you need to solve the mathematical puzzle which is being provided by the Bitcoin software. And whosoever is going to win that puzzle very quickly, that person will be eligible to create the block inside the blockchain. That's it. Okay, that is how the blocks are getting created inside the blockchain with the help of the miners. Okay, so this is all about your Bitcoin. And let me say you that if I want to transfer some amount of Bitcoin, like let me say you that where James wants to send some amount of Bitcoins to Kevin over here, like how much? Let me say 500 Bitcoins over here. So now what is going to happen? As I said you, here there are miners. In this case, Robert and Lisa are the miners. Okay, Robert and Lisa, what they are going to do is, so they will verify, miners will go ahead and try to verify this transaction, that whether really James have those 500 Bitcoins or not, and whether Kevin will be able to get the transfer appropriately or not. Okay, the validation would be done with the help of the miners, and this is how we are eliminating this double spending problem, which I already highlighted, right? This double spending problem will be eliminated with the help of the miners who are going to validate this transaction, saying that whether this is a right type of a transaction or a wrong type of transaction. That's what I'm trying to highlight it over here. Okay, so same concept as I already said you. So okay, so here you will be able to see in the blocks what is that which is being present. You will be able to see a list of transactions being present under it here. This is the thing. You can see that the list of transactions which are being present, right? All of these things would be present inside your block. Your average block size is 1 MB. So you can't have all the data in every, in I mean to say in single block, you will not be having entire information. You can have the data up to 1 MB. Average block size is 1 MB. So hardly you can have around 1 to 5,000 transactions in between this. Okay, so you will be having all these transactions being present inside your block. So in that way you will be able to see all your transactions being registered inside your blockchain. So here if you could see it, this is what we call ledger. Ledger means it is a set of transactions which are being present under your block. And once your block gets added into your blockchain, then we say that our transactions are confirmed. Until your block is not fallen inside the blockchain, right, your transactions are not confirmed. So your block needs to be fallen inside the blockchain, then only we will say that our transactions are being confirmed. Okay, ledger is nothing but it is a set of transactions which have been present in a sequential pattern. Okay, so that's how all your transactions would be present inside your blockchain, as I've tried to highlight it right now to you. Okay, so yeah, now again the same concept. So what is going to happen here? So I would just say you that even the miners who are being present, Lisa and Robert who are there, right, they are miners. Even they will also validate that whether the list of the ledger which is there, right, where we have a list of transactions, even miners are going to validate even each and every single transaction, that whether it is a right type of transaction or not. Once they give the approval, then only it will be considered, then only those transactions inside the blockchain will be considered. Let me say if they don't accept it, then the block will not fall inside the blockchain. So let me say there are 10 miners, just for an example. Okay, out of these 10 miners, at least if 6 miners agree that saying that everything is appropriate, all the transactions are right, then it will be accepted. That means 51%. Okay, at least if 51% of the miners agree saying that yes, everything is appropriate, then automatically the block will fall inside the blockchain. Let me say 51% of them, they don't agree, then the block will not fall inside the blockchain. Once the block doesn't fall inside the blockchain, that means the transactions are not confirmed. Until and unless your block falls inside the blockchain, your transactions will not be confirmed. And once the block falls inside the blockchain, right, then finally your transactions are said to be confirmed. Okay, even the miners are also responsible to validate the list of transactions which are also being present inside the block. That is their duty and the responsibility to do it. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to highlight here. The Lisa and Robert who have been present as a miners, they will validate the transactions which are being present inside a block. Okay, so then what is going to happen here? Once the block is been validated, right, then what is going to happen? As I said, like once the validation and everything is done, then what is going to happen? Already in the existing blockchain, the block will fall. Okay, once everything is accepted and once everyone approve, the miner saying that yes, in our case Lisa and Robert, once they say that yes, everything is appropriate, then the block will fall inside the blockchain, then the transactions will be confirmed. Until then the transaction is not be confirmed. Okay, so then what is going to happen? Immediately you will see that the money will be transferred to Kevin's Bitcoin account, because it got confirmed, right? Miners have validated it and they said that it is right, so automatically it will be confirmed. Once it is confirmed, then you will see that the money will be credited from James to Kevin, the whatever the 500 Bitcoins which we were discussing of. Okay, so that will be immediately sent, and this is solving the problem of double spending. As you know that miners are validating everything appropriately, so there is no chance of double spending happening over here. Okay, and finally, as I said, like here if you could see, like let me say my like Robert and Lisa, both of them are present. Now as I said you, if you remember, there may be multiple miners, who are being present, but out of them there will be only one winner, right, who is going to create the block inside the blockchain. So in our case we have Lisa and Robert, so we can just assume that Lisa is our winner. Okay, Lisa has cracked the puzzle from the Bitcoin software. Let us assume that Lisa is the winner. So automatically what is going to happen is Lisa will get some credit. Okay, because she has kept a lot of efforts and then she has found out that particular puzzle, right? And then only she was able to create that block inside the blockchain. For that, what is going to happen is your Bitcoin software which is present, right? Your Bitcoin software will give you some credit for doing the efforts. So right now it's been mentioned as 12.5 bitcoins, but instead I would say 6.25 bitcoins is what is being given as a reward to you. As a miner, if you go ahead and try to crack that puzzle from the Bitcoin software, you will be eligible to create the block inside the blockchain, and along with that you will be given a reward of 6.25 bitcoins because of the efforts which you have kept. From the Bitcoin software you will be getting it, not other person will be giving you, neither Robert nor James nor Kevin, nobody is going to give you. You will get this money directly from your Bitcoin software for doing all your efforts. So 6.25 bitcoins, not 12.5. As of now it is 6.25 bitcoins, which will be provided to the Lisa because she is the winner. Just an assumption. And then finally you know that the current block will automatically fall inside the blockchain. Your transaction will be confirmed and it will be called as a permanent blockchain. Okay, because it is present inside the blockchain. Okay, so that's how you can also see that if there is any winner who is going to win, then definitely they will be getting some benefit from the Bitcoin software. Along with that, that miner is also responsible for creating the block inside the blockchain. Validation will also happen in order to ensure that there wouldn't be any double spending problem. And finally, whatever the block will be there, once the validation and everything is successful, once 51% of the people accept it, then the block will fall inside the blockchain. So then the transactions are said to be confirmed without any issues. Okay, so this is the important point you need to consider. So now how blockchain achieves the Bitcoin solution. Okay, let's see like how blockchain is going to achieve the Bitcoin solution. Let me say if someone requests a transaction to do. Let me say if someone like Alice requests some transaction for Prashant. Alice says that, hey Prashant, please send me 2 bitcoins. Then let me say Alice has requested a transaction to me. The next step will be, if you could observe here, the transaction will be broadcasted to the network. That means what is going to happen, as I already said you here, everything is decentralized and distributed. So automatically once the data comes into this node, automatically the data will be replicated to multiple nodes which are being present inside the system, so that everyone will have the same data. That Alice is requesting the transaction to whom? Prashant. Now Prashant has initiated the transaction to Alice, let me say 2 bitcoins. Now that will be recorded in the decentralized pattern in a multiple nodes. Then the validation will be done by multiple nodes that whether really Prashant is having 2 bitcoins. So they will validate, and once the validation is successful, right, then what is going to happen, the transaction will be part of a new block, and finally that block will be added inside the blockchain, and then we can say that the transaction is completed. So this is a cycle. Okay, transaction would be sent, it will be replicated to multiple nodes or servers, you can call it as, and then these nodes and every servers which is been present right inside the network, they will go ahead and try to validate it. They will say that whether everything is appropriate or not, and then the transaction by that time will be present inside the block. Once they agree, then the transaction will fall inside the blockchain. Once they don't agree, then the transaction will, I mean say, that block will not be added inside the blockchain. So once the block is added inside the blockchain, then what do you know, that your transactions will automatically be confirmed over here. Once your transactions are being confirmed, then you can say that your transaction is being completed successfully. Okay, that is how your entire flow diagram of the blockchain would actually be present. Okay, so I hope I've given you an understanding related to this flow diagram of the blockchain technology. Yeah, again it's the same concept. Okay, so it's again the same thing. Like I could say that this is your first block, your growing blockchain, and then your block, once it falls inside the blockchain, then only the transactions will be confirmed, and you can say that it is a part of your blockchain technology. Okay, same thing, the same things are being again highlighted, like new blocks will be created, it will be added inside the blockchain, and then it will be confirmed. Okay, so blockchain are being actually the blockchain is being built from three technologies, like as you know, one is your private key cryptography, another one is p2p network, is your peer-to-peer network, and the third one is blockchain program. You can write your own blockchain programs and you can customize it in whatever way you want it. Let's see what are those. Here blockchain uses something called as a private key cryptography to secure all your identities and all. So simple as I would just say you, like let me say if you have a wallet, like where you have some bitcoins present inside your wallet. Now how you can preserve this wallet? Basically you will have your own private key. So using that private key you will be entering into your wallet, right? So without using that private key you will not be able to accept it, right? So that is the private key is a way like how you can secure. In the same way, for your internet banking and all, you'll have your passwords, right, which you will not be sharing to anyone. If they know that, then they will be able to enter into your account and they will take away your entire amount. In the same way here also blockchain uses some private key cryptography which should always be preserved and in a very safe and in a secure way. It should be only with you. Okay, so you should not ensure that those keys are being shared to anyone, because if they are able to access that key, then they will definitely enter into your wallet and they will grab away all the coins which are being present as part of your wallet. Okay, so this is one of the important thing, and we also use some hash functions also to make the blockchain immutable. So hash functions means here we use some cryptography, which is an advanced concept which will be covered in a very detailed way in our training. So hash functions here means I could say some cryptography we will be using to make sure that our blockchain is more immutable and it is more difficult to be hacked. Okay, peer to peer, as I already said, like it would be done without the help of any third parties and intermediaries. Okay, and here you can make sure that your program, you can write your programs and you can create your own protocols. Now let me say, as I said you, right, let me say if there is a 4 nodes, now the data will be replicated to all the 4 nodes successfully, because that is the significance of the blockchain technology. Right, now how they are going to accept it, there will be some protocols present in all these nodes. Using this protocol they will accept the data. Let me say if they're not accepting the data, then that will be difficult, right? So basically every system or every node which is present in the blockchain network will have some like what we call, we have some protocols being present under it. Like some of the protocols, if I would say, like there would be some whisper protocol or gossip protocol. These are all protocols which we can use inside these nodes in order to make sure that whatever data comes they can accept it, so that the data will be replicated synchronously. That is your protocols which we can design using our programs inside the blockchain. So these are 3 important things which you need to consider, like private key cryptography, p2p machines like a peer-to-peer network, no intermediaries. Private key, you should put it safe and secure so that nobody would able to attack it. And then you can also have your own blockchain program, like where you can create your own protocols like whisper and gossip, so that the nodes can go ahead and try to accept the data. Okay, so private key cryptography, if I would say, this is asymmetric algorithm. When I say asymmetric algorithm, what does that indicate? Asymmetric algorithm will have 2 keys by default, that is your public key and your private key. Okay, your asymmetric algorithm which is being present, right, it will have 2 keys, your public and private key. So you can make sure that whenever you're talking about asymmetric algorithm, it will come up with 2 different keys, that is your public and private. It is simple, public key can be shared with anyone. So let me say if somebody wants to send you some amount of money, in terms of Bitcoin, then you can go ahead and try to share them your public key. So they will be automatically sending it to your public key, and then you can use this private key and you can enter into your account. Private key is confidential, which you should not share, like your password. Private key, using your private key, you need to enter into your wallet and you can use that money wherever you want it. But using private key only, you will be allowed to enter into your wallet. Okay, this is asymmetric algorithm, like where you will be having your own public and private keys. Okay, so you can ensure that using public key, you can just go ahead and try to provide this public key to anyone so that they can send you some amount of money. Private key is always confidential, which should not be shared with anyone. So this is what we call it as our private key cryptography. So we are using this asymmetric algorithm to ensure that our private key and public key is getting generated. Okay, asymmetric algorithm means where you can have two keys. P2P network, as I already have said you, the same mechanism again. So first of all, let me say if Bobby wants to pay 5 coins to Cindy. Okay, so what is going to happen? First it will strike the first node, and then later it will be verified, and once it is accepted, then it will go to B node and C node, and again B and C node will verify it. Again they will transfer to the respective nodes. In this way everything will get distributed. Whatever the data which is present, they will be distributed and it will be validated also. In this way we are also reducing our double spending problem, and we are making the system more transparent enough. Okay, so see here, same thing, whatever I've explained to you, the same has been highlighted over here. So it will be rapidly going ahead, and it would be the transactions would be spreaded across all the nodes which have been present in the network. Okay, and every node will be independently verifying it, and then only if they accept, then they will go ahead and try to distribute to other nodes which are being present to it. Okay, so as I said you, so everything here is in the form of a distributed pattern. Okay, so whatever transactions you do, it would be distributed to multiple nodes. Okay, so there is no centralized concept here. This is eliminated, like where you will have only one in one single server all of these things here. Andy will have its own distributed server, Bobby, Derby, Cindy, every one of them, they would be able to see that the data is distributed here rather than having in a single centralized server. So if this single centralized server at any point of time, if it goes down, then it will be very difficult to cope up. So that is the reason why here everything is being distributed. Okay, so that's what it is trying to say. And again, digital signature, it's simply nothing but it is just trying to show you the flow. Let me say if somebody sends you some amount of money to you, how you can ensure that you can access that money. Let me say if Prashant has sent you around 100 rupee to your account, how you can verify and say me, you have to enter into your account and then you need to see that whether Prashant has sent to you or not. How you will be entering into your account? By using your password, your net banking password and all, or either your code with pin code, whatever, like not a pin, if I would say passcode, which you would have set it up, right? Using that also you can enter into it. In the same way here also, what you can do is you can either use the digital signatures. Okay, digital signatures also you can use, like for example, like a checkbook. In the checkbook you pay some amount of money and you sign it saying that it is you. In the same way you can also digitally sign, and you can provide some transactions, even that is also been allowed over here. And whenever you want to access the money, if other person has sent you, you have to use your private key and you need to enter into your account and you need to verify it. Okay, so that is also another important thing which I want to highlight it to you. So blockchain program, if you want to create your own blockchains, okay, in any customized program, if you want to write it on your own, then how you can do that? Here is the way. So you can do it in your own way by implementing the any language you can use, but I would say Solidity is the most preferential language. Now if you want to create anything inside the blockchain, then Solidity is the most preferred programming language. You don't need to worry about it. The basics and advanced topics of Solidity, each and everything will be taken care in our session. Okay, in our training session we will take care of all these things, so you don't need to worry about it. Even if you don't have the programming skills, or even if you are not aware of this Solidity programming, it doesn't matter. I will ensure that you get the best out of the Solidity programming language, starting from basics to advanced. But Solidity is the most preferential language in order to create your own set of applications using the blockchain technology. Okay, so this is also another important point which I just want to put it up to you. And as I said, the blockchain transactions, so everything here is being distributed, and you can just have a look into every transaction in the form of a node. You can validate and then you can verify and then you can accept it. and the same data will be replicated to multiple nodes. Okay, so here, as I said, transactions are being basically verified by the miners. Okay, the transactions which have been present, they have been verified by the miners, and who actually ensured that they would solve the complex math puzzles in order to become a winner. Okay, so here the mathematical principle ensures that the nodes are automatically and continuously agree to the current state of the ledger. As I already have mentioned, right, there are some protocols like Whisper and Gossip protocols which you can use and ensure that all of your nodes are in the current state and they're accepting all the data, they're distributing, and they're validating all the data whether it is right or wrong. Okay, so again, if anybody attempts to corrupt the transaction inside the nodes, let me say if somebody has attacked this node. Okay, so even if he attacks this particular node, right, he will not be successful in doing that because he needs to attack at least 51% of the nodes, that is majority of the nodes, to become a successful hacker, which is indeed a very difficult job because you need a lots of computation power to go ahead and try to break these nodes. So that is the reason why we are giving that guarantee, saying that no hacker if can actually go ahead and try to attack, but even if they try to do it also, it will be extremely difficult for them because all the data is getting replicated synchronously, and if anybody wants to come and try to attack, it will be very difficult for them to do it. Okay, it is 51% of the systems they need to attack in order to do anything inside it, and which has not been proven till now, and many people have dared to do, but they have not been successful in doing it. Okay, so this is also another important point which you need to consider. There are different types of blockchains, like you have your public blockchain, private blockchain, and then consortium blockchain. Public blockchain means which is visible to everyone. You, me, every one of us can use this blockchain. Like most of the important blockchain in terms of public domain means, I would just say you that your Bitcoin, okay, and your Ethereum, all the cryptocurrencies are basically in the public blockchain only, because if these are not in public domain, right, people will not understand what it is and they will not invest. If they don't invest, then the coin value will go down. So obviously major cryptocurrencies will be in the public domain so that anybody can try to come and invest and they can know more about this blockchains, if I would say. So that is what we generally call it as our public blockchain, okay, whatever which is being present. And then we have our private blockchain also present. Okay, so private blockchain means it is only used at the enterprise level. Okay, so at the enterprise level which is actually being used, so like especially in the industries, especially in the industries which are being present, right, there we would be using this private blockchain. And then consortium blockchain which is present, right, here you will have multiple leaders who will actually be handling this blockchain technology. Like let me say in the private entity you will have only single organization which will own that blockchain technology. Like for example, Reliance will only handle this blockchain. In consortium blockchain you will have multiple leaders present here. Okay, so when I say multiple leaders, right, like for example, like you can say Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, all of them can actually go ahead and try to take a common decision. That is where we use the consortium blockchain. And if it is a private blockchain, only single entity will handle it. And if it is a public blockchain, it is open to everyone. Anybody can come and try to invest or access this blockchain. Okay, that's how the blockchain types are being segregated into public, private, and consortium blockchains. So in a nutshell, if I would say, we are using some mathematics, that means some hashing and cryptography, to create a secure ledger so that nobody would actually try to come and attack the system, which would enable the transactions to be done without the need of any intermediaries. This is what is a blockchain in a nutshell. So we are using some hashing and cryptography mechanisms, and we are taking the advantage of a distributed ledger which would do the transactions without the involvement of any third parties or intermediaries. Okay, this is in a nutshell if I would say about the blockchain technology. And if I would say the features of the blockchain, as I've already said, the same topics over here, you can make sure that your fraud resistance is high here, because as you know, everything is being validated by the miners and there is no double spending problem. And because of the decentralized mechanism, as every data is getting distributed to multiple nodes, so if anybody wants to come and attack the system also, they will not be successful in doing it, because everything here is safe and transparent and is distributed and decentralized, and it is immutable, so that nobody would actually try to come and attack. Even if they try to change anything inside the blockchain, it will not allow you to do, because it is immutable in nature. Okay, so in that way you can make sure that your fraud resistance has been totally reduced. consistency is being present, because you know that as all the data is getting distributed to multiple nodes, so it is been consistent enough to make sure that it accepts all the new data, and it is synchronously replicating to all the nodes which have been present. Okay, there is no central authority like how we have in our traditional mechanism. There is no central authority here. Everything here is distributed, and there is no intermediaries are being involved. Okay, the Bitcoin reward, as I already have said you, so it is not 12.5. If I would say right now, as I mentioned, 6.25 Bitcoin is the reward which is being provided to the miner, as and when they go ahead and try to make sure that they win that puzzle, and then they will be eligible to create the block, and then they will be allowed to create those Bitcoins also. Okay, I mean to say those Bitcoins will be given as a reward from the Bitcoin software to that miner. Okay, what are you going to learn at Edureka? Like how our training, the 36 hours of training is being structured. If you could observe over here, okay, the first one would be like where we will be discussing about the blockchain origin, like how it started, what are the important points we need to consider. And then we will be moving on to our hands-on part. And our second module will be all about the cryptocurrency and blockchain, like how the first application of the blockchain technology is our cryptocurrency. So we will understand it in a more detailed way, and then we will be moving on with our practical aspects, like how to create a wallet, how to do transactions, how to do transfer of money, what are the different types of wallets available, who are using these Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies which are being available in the market, how to do trading. All of these things we will be discussing about it. And then your third one will be your Bitcoin platform. We will discuss about a Bitcoin platform, how it is, and then the hands-on related to it. And then we will be discussing about Bitcoin mining in a very detailed way, how the Bitcoin mining will be done, what are the hardware equipments really required, how you can do mining if you are really interested, what are the mining pools, all those concepts we'll cover. And then we will see the hands-on related to it. And then the fifth one would be the introduction to Ethereum. Like Ethereum is also one of the very famous applications of the blockchain technology. In Ethereum, we can write our Solidity code and everything. So I will explain to you like what is Ethereum, what are some of the important topics related to it. And then we will also be doing hands-on related to it. And then we will be moving towards the basics of Solidity, like how you need to understand some of the important keywords, global variables, state variables, local variables, all of those things I'll try to explain to you, some of the keywords and syntaxes and structure of the Solidity. And then we will do hands-on. Okay, and then we have an advanced Solidity concepts where we will be discussing about how to mint our own coins, how to book a hotel using cryptocurrencies. We will be writing our programs, and we will see how to conduct elections. All these things we will be able to see using advanced Solidity. Okay, and then we will be seeing how to develop a DApp using a Truffle, a decentralized application. That's a hands-on. Okay, and then we will also be seeing that what is a Hyperledger concept, which is an enterprise oriented blockchain. And then finally we will be able to see how to create and deploy our own private blockchain on multi-chain. Okay, so those are the topics which we are going to cover as part of our blockchain Edureka's training, like blockchain and Ethereum certification part. There are multiple use cases also which we are going to discuss as part of our training, like banking system, payment and transfers, healthcare, law enforcement, voting, payment and transfers, online music, real estate, along with this land and registry department. And then we can see many aviation sector, how we can implement the blockchain technology, agriculture sector. All of these use cases also would be discussed with you in the prospects of blockchain, like where I will be discussing everything in a very detailed way, so that you can understand like how you can implement. And tomorrow whenever you get a chance, you can also go ahead and try to work on those applications. Okay, so as I said, banking system, how it is going to create a mess. So we want to ensure that we can reduce the fraud by implementing the blockchain technology towards it, so that hacking can be really impossible and nobody can try to hack the bank servers with the help of the blockchain technology. And then payment and transfers also, we are using this blockchain technology to make it more safe and secure, so that there wouldn't be any double spending problem. As I already have said, there would be miners who will be validating it, and you don't require any bank account. You just need to have a public key which you can share, and then automatically the transfer of money would be done into your account. Okay, and then your voting will be explained in a very detailed way, but right now I can just say that we will be using a blockchain technology e-voting mechanism. Recently, if you would have seen that Telangana and the Tamil Nadu government have already started implementing this blockchain technology towards e-voting. Okay, so they already have like kept the research papers, like whatever they have discussed in the meeting. So they want to start at the panchayat level, how the elections are being done. Okay, so that this prototype can be carried forward to other sectors, I mean to other elections like MLA and MP elections, general elections, how it can be helpful and how they can actually extract it a lot from it. Okay, so they're exploring more about it, and we will see that how blockchain can be beneficial for our voting mechanism in our training in a very detailed way at the prospects of the blockchain technology. And for hands-on, right, we will be using certain tools, like if I would say here remix is one of the tool. Okay, in the remix ethereum.org, this is a tool which we will be using in order to write our solidity code. Okay, so basically if I just want to give you an example here, this is how your solidity code and everything would look like. Yeah, I will explain to you everything in a very detailed way as we come into our training, but this is our remix tool where we will be writing our entire code and everything. Okay, so and apart from that, we also have a MetaMask wallet. Okay, so this is a MetaMask wallet which we will be downloading. It just takes around 2 to 3 minutes to download this wallet. This is also very much useful in order to deploy our smart contract and everything. Okay, and along with MetaMask, we will also be having something called as the Ganache wallet. Okay, this Ganache is also important. This is for deploying a private blockchain. In order to deploy a private blockchain, you require Ganache tool, and for MetaMask, it's actually meant for your public blockchain. Okay, these are the tools which we will be using for our hands-on: MetaMask, Ganache, and the Remix. And we will also use Visual Studio Code and everything for creating our front end and back end, which I will be explaining to you in the training in a very detailed way. Okay, so with this note, I have wrapped up my entire session. Fine then. So thanks everyone. Thanks for listening to me very patiently. Have a great day, everyone, and all the best for your futures. Until then, bye bye. Thank you. Have a great time.